Welcome back, everyone. Now we're going to be finishing our French eclairs. Remember earlier we made the filling for them, the Bavarian cream filling. That's been sitting overnight in the refrigerator, setting up, getting nice and cold. Now we're going to make the shells for our eclairs. It's very simple, easy. 1 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 stick of unsalted butter, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, into a pot, bring it to a boil. As soon as this comes to a boil, we're going to take it off the stove, and then you're going to see real magic. Real magic is going to happen, because it's going to come together and form what is known in the culinary world as a pâte à choux. Bob likes to call them Patty's shoes, but it's really a pâte à choux. It's the dough that makes up our eclairs. Okay, we're at a rolling boil. Now, turn it off the heat. Add the flour in all at once and stir until all the flour is incorporated into the liquid. You want to get all the lumps out. It's going to get really thick really fast. Okay, can you see that? Okay, now we're going to add 2 more tablespoons of flour because it kind of needs it. One at a time, just one at a time. And basically what you're doing here is you're just cooking out the raw flour taste. Okay. One more. One more. That's it. Okay. Now, we're going to put the flame back on really low. And just keep mixing until it all comes together away from the sides like a ball, like a big styrofoam looking ball. See that? Just as I said, we're just cooking out the raw flour taste and making it into a ball. Okay, now you should have what looks like this in your pot. One big ball of dough. We're going to take this whole thing of dough and move it to our mixing bowl. Just like that. With the paddle attachment on the mixer, we're just going to start mixing it to cool it down. Basically, we want to get it down to about 140 degrees. And that's why I always have one of these stuck in the sleeve of my jacket here. We want to cool it down to about 140 degrees because we need to add 4 eggs. If we add the eggs in when it's too hot, we're going to get scrambled eggs and not a very good dough. So we want to cool it down to about 140 degrees. Now we're going to test the dough and see what temperature it's at. Because like I said, you don't want to have it too warm because you'll just wind up scrambling the eggs. You want to have it below 140 degrees. And we do. Perfect. Now we're going to take our eggs and add them one at a time. And make sure that the first one is fully incorporated into the mix and into the dough before you add another one. And number 2 egg, second egg. And you're starting to see what looks like a very soft dough. Now you are going to want to take a spatula at some point and scrape down the sides of your bowl. Make sure you get it all incorporated. It's a very sticky dough. Very, very sticky dough. As you can see what's on the beater here. It's very sticky. And that's what you want. Okay. Third egg. Make sure it's fully incorporated before you add the last one. And again, starting out with room temperature eggs is a good idea for most baking, pretty much all baking. You want to start out with room temperature eggs and room temperature butter. Now you're going to see this, I don't know if our cameraman can get this, but the dough is starting to pull away from the sides of your mixer. Add your last egg. Meanwhile, we would have our stove heating up to 425 degrees. Great. Now, I don't know if you can see this. Okay, can you see that? That's what you want. It's a very sticky dough. Incredibly sticky. See? Scrape it all off. And now we're going to fill our pastry bag that I have already fitted a round tip on the end of. I'm going to fill up the pastry bag in order to make our little eclair shells. See you in a few. Okay, now we're going to fill the pastry bag with our pâte à choux. It's very sticky, as you can see. So you want to put sort of a cuff on the end of your bag to put your hand up into. That way you can scoop your dough into the pastry bag like so. Just keep pushing it down and pushing it down until you get it down to the tip. I'm just going to show you this once. Just push it down until you get it all the way down to the tip. There we go. And now I'll continue to fill it. Sometimes I need an extra pair of hands for this, but not today. Today I'm able to do it all by myself. When my son was little, I used to make him hold it for me when I was in pastry school. When I would do any practice runs at home, I would always make Tommy hold the bag for me so I could fill it up as full as possible, only to know, and only to find out actually later, you really shouldn't do that. You're not supposed to fill it to capacity, because then it comes out the top. Okay, we're just pushing out our dough onto parchment paper, lined sheet tray. And when you get a little loopy-loop like that, just take a little water on the end of your fingers and push it over. Just a little water. There we go. And just do another row. These are going to be mini eclairs. You can make them as big as you like, but just remember, the larger they are, the more you have to fill and the longer they have to bake. So I go for the mini ones only because they're easier to handle. Plus this way people can have one of these and maybe one brownie or one cookie. You know, they're not limited to just having an eclair for dessert. Because if you eat one of these in a big size, that's a lot of dessert. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to continue to do this until I've used up all of the pâte à choux dough. And then we're going to put them into my preheated 425 degree oven for about 20 minutes. And when they come out, they're going to be puffed up and golden brown and hollow on the inside, because that's where we're going to put the Bavarian cream. See you later. And we're back to finish assembling our French eclairs. I did this video for a couple of reasons. They're not that simple, and they are a step. There are a lot of steps in the process to making the French eclairs. But practice makes perfect, and anybody can do it. If you just do it enough times, you'll get it down. Welcome back. We're going to finish up our French eclairs. All of our shells are done. They've cooled, and I've poked each one of them with a little hole in the center. They're hollow inside. That's all you want is a shell. This is a tip or a platform I use actually to make roses for cakes, but it can also be used to poke holes in our shells, which I did earlier. Okay, now we're going to fill our pastry bag, fitted with a little smaller tip in order to get into the hole, with our Bavarian cream. The Bavarian cream you had in your refrigerator, and take it out about 15 minutes before you want to use it. Give it a good stir, get it loose, and fill your pastry bag. Like so. This can get a little messy, but don't worry. Nobody cares. At least not me. And we've got our pastry bag filled with our Bavarian cream. Push it down. Give it a twist. See it coming out the end. We're good. Okay. Now you want to take your shell with the little hole, tip in, and just give it a squeeze. It's a hollow shell, so when you start to feel it getting full, and you'll know this, you'll know it when it starts happening. When it starts filling up with the cream, it'll either come out the other side, which is okay, or you'll feel it get heavier, because they are an empty shell until you fill them. And once you start filling them, they do get a little heavier. And there you go. That's how we fill our shells with the Bavarian cream. It's a tongue twister. Bavarian cream. Just keep going until you've got them all filled. And then we're going to coat them in a little chocolate. You're not going to crack it. Don't worry. Just push it in and fill it up. Trust me, it's a process. And it takes some time to actually perfect this. And that's why I wanted to do this video, to show you that not everything is a cupcake or a cookie or a brownie. Some things are harder than others. And it just takes practice. Push it in, fill it up, and you'll feel it. You'll actually feel it getting full. I wish I could show this to you on the camera. I wish you could have smell-o-vision or feel-o-vision. But you'll actually feel it getting a little heavier. And then, the final touch, the chocolate, the ganache, chocolate ganache. Stay tuned. Okay, now that we have all of our shells filled with the Bavarian cream, we can just put this off to the side, like so. And I wanted to show you something because baking is a process, and especially baking French eclairs. It's not for the faint of heart. Trust me when I tell you this. It's going to be trial and error, and you're going to have to practice. It took me a long time to get these right, but I finally mastered it. Now that I have them all filled with the Bavarian cream, what I want to do is coat them in a chocolate ganache. Now this is semi-sweet chocolate, about 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate, over which I poured boiling hot heavy cream. About half a cup of boiling hot heavy cream. And you want to do this off the stove, and you want to do it quickly, because if you don't, this is what you get. Seized chocolate. This is not good eats, and it certainly doesn't look good on your French eclairs. This is what we want. Smooth, creamy ganache. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take each one of our pastries that we have filled with our Bavarian cream, and if there's too much sticking out the end, just use your finger to take the bits that might be hanging out, the little bit that might be hanging out, just smooth it out. Take your eclair, hold it by the bottom, and do that. And line it up onto a clean piece of parchment paper on a clean sheet pan, like so. Can you see that, Mr. Cameraman? That is good eats, if I do say so myself. I happen to love French eclairs. They're one of my favorite desserts. It's probably why I insisted upon mastering it when I was in culinary school, because I really liked them. And I said to my chef instructor, I really want to know how to make those. You want to know the funny part? Now that I know how to make them, I rarely do, except for a catering job. And that's it, kids. Our eclairs are done. Once they've cooled completely and the chocolate on top has hardened to a nice little shell, I'm going to put them all in little individual little paper cups, put them on a presentation platter, and serve them. And trust me when I tell you this, you're going to get oohs and ahs. Everybody's going to rave. See you next time.